everybody, it's Stuart A. Swerdlow for Expansions.com, and this is the news podcast for the middle of June 2016. And for those of you in the United States, and I think Canada and a few other places, it is Father's Day and Father's Day week. Hence my World's Greatest Dad t-shirt, which I have to wear it because people need to know. Anyway, Janet is still in Italy, and she'll be on the next podcast when we film that. And hopefully she will have many, many, many stories to tell you about Italy, as I'm sure she will. But it's been some interesting news, and I have some things to tell you about monsters. Yes, all kinds of monsters, and I'm going to tell you right now. You've heard of what a kraken is. Yes, it is the old Viking word for sea monster. And someone who was searching on Google Earth, he was a monster hunter, he said he found a kraken sighted April 9th, 2016, right off the coast of Deception Island near Antarctica. Now, the interesting thing is that in January 2010, I was in Deception Island. And actually, Deception Island is an active volcano. It's actually a super volcano, and I, smart person that I am, sailed right into the crater, because the crater comes out into the ocean off the coast of Antarctica, and the last time it erupted, one of the walls of the volcano fell into the ocean. So you can actually sail through that opening, and then there's this huge water area filling up the crater. Was it a smart thing to do? Probably not. But the interesting thing is that while I was sailing through the opening of the volcano, 2 UFOs appeared in the sky, and one of my sons took a picture of that, and I believe we posted it somewhere, and maybe some of you can still find that on the internet somewhere. It was 6.5 years ago. But anyway, this kraken measured, according to this story, 30 meters from head to end, or over 100 feet. And it looked kind of like a giant squid, but they said it could have also been over 60 meters long if you include the tentacles. However, another conspiracy theorist, and I don't like that term, but that's what they're calling it, has a different opinion about this object and said it looks mostly artificial and may have been an underwater UFO that was coming out of the ocean. And actually, when I looked at it and looked up close, it did kind of look artificial to me also. I didn't think it looked like a creature. But you take a look at the link and let me know what you think. Now about another monster. This one is the Orlando shooter who killed 49 people in the gay club in Orlando. And interestingly, his wife exchanged text messages with him while he was at the Pulse nightclub, and even said that she loved him. Her name is Salman, and she claims no responsibility for what happened. However, she has given conflicting accounts about what she knew of her husband's intentions in those early hours of the morning, and she told investigators that in the weeks before the attack, this guy Matin spent thousands of dollars for guns that he used in the attack. So why didn't she say something if she knew that was going on? And a U.S. attorney plans to bring evidence before a federal grand jury to determine whether charges should be placed against her. My opinion is that they should be, because she obviously knew what was going on and said nothing. And while he was at the club, this Matin, who murdered all these people, called the CNN affiliate News 13 and said, "I did it for ISIS, I did it for the Islamic State." Now, that's very unusual, since the father said he was not radicalized. And here's what I have said, and I don't remember if I said it in the last podcast, but I know I've said it in my seminars and my work in other places. When you hate something or somebody, it's because that is within you, and you hate that part of yourself, so you attack it when you see it externally to yourself. And some say that this Matin was actually fueled with his own struggles with his own sexuality, and used ISIS as an excuse to manifest his anger. Several of the people at the gay nightclub said he visited the place frequently over the last few years, and even used a dating app called Grindr, I think that's how you say it, to hook up with people. So and one person said that this terrorist, this murderer, sent him a picture of his private parts and actually said he was attracted to him and almost hooked up with him. So was the Orlando shooter gay? Yes, I think that you become what you hate, and I think absolutely he was. His ex-wife said she also questioned his sexuality and said, and I quote, "It doesn't surprise me that he might be gay, and it doesn't surprise me that he was leading two totally different lives and was in such a deep conflict within himself." So yes, I believe he was gay, he hated himself for being that way, and so he took it out on these people and used them as an excuse for his actions, or the terrorism as an excuse for his actions. Another kind of monster. There has been a huge rise in the number of great white sharks spotted off the coast of California. In fact, some of them are up to 8 feet long, almost 2 meters, over 2 meters, and they were seen very close to Huntington Beach in Orange County. Now, according to the lieutenant who was part of the Huntington Beach Fire Department Marine Safety Division, said, "I've seen more white sharks this year than I have in the previous 30. That's very significant. So, could something be spooking them? And I've told you in many podcasts before, sharks have been frequently spotted and attacking people on the east coast of the U.S., the west coast, Australia, etc. And this may be because of seismic and volcanic undersea activity that is spooking them and pushing them closer to shore. And we know that there has been increased activity volcanic-wise in Alaska and Siberia, and many quakes happening off the west coast of South America and the Pacific Ocean, and I have seen more in southern Japan and other places in Turkey, etc. Now, let's go to Europe for a little bit. Germany. Remember what I told you last time about how the Germans are afraid to say how they feel about the refugees coming in and about Islam. So this is a bit of a follow-up on the last podcast and what I said, because a poll was conducted in Germany, and half the population of Germany feels that foreigners in their own country are too many, and that there are too many Muslims, and that they're hardening their attitudes towards them. And this time, 4 in 10 said they want Muslims blocked from immigrating to Germany, which is up 36.6% from 2 years ago. And overall, 3 in 10 complained that Germany has been infiltrated by too many foreigners in a dangerous way. And 3 in 5 Germans said that most asylum seekers are not really at risk of any persecution in their home country, and so they're just being sent there on purpose. And there's been a mass influx of asylum seekers that has caused this backlash in Germany, and this is also causing a rise in Nazi sentiments, not just in Germany, but all across Europe. And interestingly, a large percentage of Germans have recently said they would prefer to have a dictator take over the country and eliminate this problem. Shades of the 1930s. Now, let's go globally for AI, or artificial intelligence. A new technology could lead humans to relinquish control over decisions to use lethal force. As artificial intelligence advances, the possibility that machines could independently select and fire on targets is fast approaching. These are known as killer robots, and they are moving from science fiction into reality. Well, they could operate on land, in the air, or in the sea, and having robots do the fighting would keep soldiers and police officers out of harm's way, according to this report. But the threats to humanity would outweigh any military or law enforcement benefits. Removing humans from the targeting decision would create a dangerous world. Machines would make life and death determinations outside of human control. No person would be then held responsible, except maybe the programmer of these robots. At least 20 countries have expressed in the United Nations meetings the belief that humans should dictate the selection and engagement of targets and not AI. But you know what, people? It's already happened, because drones already can target people, and it's already in process as we speak. Now, I have something very important to discuss with you about Hillary Clinton. She passes herself off as being egalitarian. She loves all people, all races, all genders, all blah, 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 right? Well, here's a report that was written by Bill Clinton's former lover, Dolly Kyle. I love that name, Dolly Kyle. And she was his lover for a bit of time, especially when he was governor of Arkansas. Now, she wrote in her new book that Hillary Clinton once called disabled children at an Easter egg hunt effing retards and referred to Jews as stupid kikes, while Bill called Jesse Jackson a damned N-word. So it goes on. Rumors that Bill Clinton had trysts with black women were rampant in Little Rock, and in fact, one black female newscaster openly bragged about her relationship with the governor, but said that was only, I'm sorry people, it was just oral sex. And of course, Bill Clinton doesn't consider that to be sex, does he? Now, he also created a 3 strikes rule when he was president, where if you're 3 strikes, you're out, you're permanently imprisoned. And this incarcerated 2.5 million people, including poor people of many races who couldn't afford lawyers. And when Hillary moved to Arkansas, she looked down her nose at the people there and called them ignorant hillbillies. This is Hillary Clinton. So if you're thinking of voting for her out there, I want you to listen to this. Bill and Hillary Clinton profess to have always been supporters of racial equality. But Bill was sued several times by blacks and Hispanics for violations of the 1965 Voting Rights Act. And in fact, not one black was voted into the Arkansas legislation in hundreds of elections. In the 1980s, Hispanics were moving into Arkansas in greater numbers, and Clinton began racial profiling against the Hispanics. And for no good reason, he decided to profile Hispanics as drug dealers, according to this book. State troopers had the authority to stop and search any vehicle remotely suspected of carrying drugs. Specifically, the troopers were to stop and search cars driven by Hispanics, especially those with Texas license plates, because they would assume to be Mexicans crossing the border looking for drugs, etc. Now, where did Hillary get her name? Why Hillary Clinton? Well, she has said and told the story that she was named after Sir Edmund Hillary, who became the first climber to reach the summit of Mount Everest in 1953. However, Hillary was born in October 1947, 6 years before the New Zealand explorers' climb. So she has been forced to amend her statement about how and why she was named. And according to this book, and it's called Hillary the Other Woman, which is by this Dolly Kyle, she said that the Clintons were always on the lookout for additional income. And she said, I first heard about this particular deal when a couple of guys from Canada contacted me in Dallas to ask for my help. Dolly agreed to meet these men who were terrified of the Clintons, but one man said he was going to die soon anyway, so he wasn't afraid. He said that over 2,000 Canadians were infected with HIV and the AIDS virus, and the source was traced to bad blood collected from inmates in Arkansas prisons where Clinton was governor. Inmates were paid $7 a pint for their blood, and then Bill and his cronies sold the prisoners' blood for $50 per pint. Arkansas prisons were banned from selling blood when the government officials learned the bad blood was coming from that state. Now, getting around that ban, dummy corporations were set up in other states to purchase the bad blood and then resell it under their own label. All of that infected blood went to Canada, where 8,000 to 10,000 people died as a result of that. Really want Hillary to be president now? Now let's not forget Vince Foster, Bill Clinton's deputy White House counsel, and who had also been his childhood friend, and a former partner of Hillary's at the Rose Law Firm. He knew all of their Whitewater secrets, including Hillary's double billing practices that enabled her to receive questionable foreign money with strings attached. He knew all the information about the White House Travel Office and Hillary using FBI files to go after people through the IRS. According to this book, Dolly writes, "I believe that Vince was about to resign because of what he had seen in his first 6 months of the Clinton co-presidency. I believe that his resignation could have raised a lot of probing questions. But before he could leave Washington, the deputy White House counsel was found dead in Fort Marcy Park, off the George Washington Parkway in Virginia on July 20th, 1993. An antique, rarely fired gun was found in his hand, and the death was ruled a suicide." And she writes, "I do not believe that Vince Foster committed suicide." And indeed, most people don't, especially since the gun that he used to kill himself was longer than his arm, and he could not possibly have reached it out to shoot it into his own head. Thousands of politicians, oh, by the way, it says here, Hillary moved into the White House. When she moved in, she requested 900 files from the FBI containing private information on people from both political parties. Thousands of politicians in Washington still wonder what Hillary has on them. That's why they're supporting her, because they're afraid of what she'll say. Now this is a very interesting statement by this Dolly. "Terrorism is the use of violence and intimidation for political aims. By this definition, Hillary Clinton is a terrorist." Files were subpoenaed, and Hillary declared when she was there with Bill, "We are the president." So she thought she was also the president. And according to this information, Hillary has been declaring herself president since Bill stepped into office in 1992. So people, anyone out there still want her to be president? Not that Trump is any great deal either, but somebody else needs to be placed in office. And you know, people, there really is no election. I told you that. The voting machines are rigged. And I'll say my statement again, even though you've heard it a million times, you will get a better result pressing a lever on your toilet bowl than on the election machine, because when you flush your toilet bowl, you know where that crap is going. By the way, for all of you global warming enthusiasts, and you know that I always tell you how wrong you are, well, guess what happened 5 days ago, people? It snowed in Hawaii. Yes, in Mauna Kea, they had snow in June in 2016. So, that's basically my news for today. I hope I have enlightened you on some interesting topics. I will remind you that Janet will be back next week. We will resume our webinars, I believe, in September, so keep an eye out for that. And also, our September Spectacular is starting to fill up. Please register for that. I will be releasing information that I just come across regarding Alien Agenda, new alien groups that even I didn't know about, which I will be telling you about, plus history, information that is not in any of my books, and I haven't written about it yet. So you want to come and get a hold of that, because it is not going to be filmed, people. Sorry, it will not be filmed. Also, in September, end of September, I will be in Bonn, Germany, working at the Russian Institute. I may also be in Spain, maybe Holland, possibly South America, I'm not sure yet, but in October I'll be back in Berlin, and in Poland, where we'll be doing a conference called the Exposing Truth Conference. That will be on the website in a couple of weeks, I hope. We are co-sponsoring that with Speedstar.pl in Warsaw, Poland. So that's all for now. Happy Father's Day to all of you who are fathers and who act like fathers. And I want to thank all the people who wrote in both private emails and on my website wishing me a happy Father's Day. And some of you wrote very touching words and considered me to be like a father to you, and I was very pleased to hear that and touched. I really had no idea about some of you. So that's all for now. We'll see you next time. Stuart Swerdlow signing off.